non-black, and they're benefiting from it quite well. So are we seeing these things come, and then we kind of like, I don't think I want to. No, I'm going to. Let me say something to you. Things are pointed out. They're pointed out about us. But I need you to hear this and hear it clearly. When things are being pointed out about us, 9 times out of 10, other people are already doing that, but they're saying it about you so you won't. What am I talking about? A lot of times it's pointed out about black people receiving things like SNAP, wherever you are, I don't know what it's called. I'm just going to say food stamps, assistance, things of that sort. Oh, they're getting this. Oh, they're always getting that. But what you don't see is people that are not black, they're getting it more than you are. So you need to make sure that you're doing what you need to do and not listen to the erroneous rhetoric that causes you to miss out. If you need help, you need help. I'm just going to say it again. If you need help, you need help. If your children need to be fed, your children need to be fed. You need a roof over your head, you need a roof over your head. That's all to it. Now, whether you're going to get on it for life, that's not your plan. Nobody that I pray of want to do that. You want to get on it till you get back on your feet. Now, that's money. If you work, you've already paid that money in. You deserve to get temporary help when you run into problems. So pride has no place here. You need to do what you need to do to survive. Get back up on your feet and do what you need to do. All right, let's move on. Let's see what else we got here. Health insurance, a solid indicator of health care access, has eluded black adults more than white adults for a multitude of reasons. The gap in coverage between white and black adults has been almost cut in half after the 2010 passage of the Affordable Care Act. There it is again. From 9.9% percentage points to 5.5 in 2016. But progress has since stalled, kind of come to a halt. The remaining gap may be a factor of lower incomes or the types of jobs black people are more likely to hold. But the disparity in coverage means black people are more likely to avoid care due to cost. Why is that? Well, you got a high copay or something, okay? So every time you go, there's a high copay. $20. Well, if you don't have any insurance, I don't know what it is. I have insurance, and I make sure that I covered that on my plan so that when I go, I wouldn't be worried about the copay, because you're not going to always, well, not everybody's going to always have extra money on hand, and you never know when something is going to happen to you or your family member that you'll be able to always come forth with that. So when you're choosing your insurance, you need to decide, do I want a high deductible? Because if I want a high deductible, then that means my insurance rates will be lower, but I got to come out of pocket big time before I get care. So if your high deductible is $500 or $1,000 and your premium is very low, but now are you able to, when you go into the doctor's office, to shell out $1,000? Are you able to shell out $500? So that might be something you want to take a look at and make sure that you see what you're going to be able to handle when you walk into the doctor's office. Just some food for thought there. Let's move on. Oh my, the justice system. This is the Reuters report we're reading. The justice system, okay? On average, black male offenders receive federal sentences almost 20% longer than white male offenders for the same crime. Now, I don't do it now. I did jail ministry, prison and jail ministry for 30 years or more, okay? Taking a team in, ministering to the incarcerated, male and female. That's something. Let me tell you, that is something. And I've ministered to as small a group as maybe 10 or 15, and to as large a group as maybe a couple of thousand at once. When you look out over that auditorium and you see so many able-bodied men, and the majority of them is melanated, it hurts your heart as I can speak for myself, as a female, as a sister who had 5 brothers, as with nieces and nephews, with a father, with whomever, and I'm like saying, my God, you don't need to be in here. I didn't go judging them on what they did. That wasn't why I was there. But just to look at them and to say to them, you need to be out of here. You need to be doing something more constructive. Don't know what got you in here, but we need to be out of here. We need to try to make a better life. We need to don't even get in here. But we know how the system is. Many people get in and they didn't do anything. We already know that. We're back at that today. We're back at white supremacy, back at race soldiers. We're back at, let me say this too. How many people, have you ever researched out what started the police department? Did you ever look that up? That might be something interesting you need to do when you're studying your history. They didn't just pop up one day. There was a reason for it. And the ultimate reason is because it started from slavery and keeping runaway slaves in check. It branched out a little farther than that, but that's kind of like where it originated from. And also, let me share this with you. Now, I was just hearing on one radio show as I was coming in, someone's podcast, slavery is still alive in the U.S. Okay, you need to know that. How is that? Okay, we are free and you have the rights to vote and do all of these things. But I think the law states, when you're reading the Constitution, I'm sure which one, once you are incarcerated, then you are again like into slavery. And I'm paraphrasing it. Look it up. This is real. Once you're incarcerated, you're back like under slavery. Okay? It's a form of slavery. So the incarceration system is one of the biggest, most lucrative systems for, I don't know about other countries, but I'm going to say for the U.S. right now. Let's read on. A sentencing commission report examining the difference in federal court sentences found that between 2007 and 2016, sentences for black male offenders were an average of almost 20% longer than those for white male offenders accused of the same crime. Accused of the same crime. You see the diagram right there. Okay? Black Americans face a higher chance of imprisonment, according to the Pew Research Center, a nonpartisan public policy organization. In 2017, black adults made up 33% of the U.S. prison population, despite accounting for only 12% of the nation's adults. It's less of us in the world, but it's more of us in prison. What's going on? In contrast, white people made up 30% of the prison population, but 64% of the country as a whole. Black people also face longer sentences for similar crimes. You already know this. And have a greater chance of dying from an encounter from a police officer compared with white people, according to the U.S. government studies. This is not anything I'm making up. This is according to U.S. government studies. Listen again, Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed due to a lack of knowledge. This is not critical race theory. This should be critical truth theory. Critical truth theory. This should be, it's history. This is American history. This is our history. The truth is a light. We need to know the truth. We need to not just hear about it, read about it, be about it, know about it. What does woke mean? I hear one governor has his own definition of woke. What does woke mean? Woke was originated with the black population. Woke means wake up. Woke means you need to be aware of what is going on around you. Woke means you need to know your history. You need to know where you came from fully so you can know where you are going. That's what woke means. And so it was changed over to something else and made to be something ugly. But to us, it simply means you better wake up. Sleeping time is over. You need to know that you know that you know what is going on if you're going to survive. Okay? That's what woke really means. Critical race theory is teaching the truth about history and about systemic racism and what is happening. And it's normally taught at the college level. They took it out of perspective, made people think it's taught at kindergarten and it's taught at wherever the case may be. But it is a college course, mainly elective, critical race theory. I call it critical truth theory. Okay, so enough on that. All right, so it says here, due to a felony conviction compared to 1 in every 56 non-black voters. So we're talking about voting access now. In 2016, 1 out of every 13 black people lost their right to vote. How many people on this call knew that? How many people knew? How many people knew? Did you know that? Really, did you know that? That they lost their right to vote? Did you know that? Oh my God. Felony disenfranchisement. In 2016, more than 7% of the voting age black population in America was disenfranchised compared to 1.8% of non-white black population. You can see the graph right there. This is for black people, this is non-black. Black political gains from electing local officials to Congress members and a president have been steady since the dismantling of the discriminatory Jim Crow laws. We hear a lot about Jim Crow. I don't know if people understand Jim Crow laws. I lived through some of the Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow laws, which legalized racial segregation and the passage of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. But in 2016, black people made up a disproportionate share of the more than 6 million people estimated to have lost their right to vote because of a felony conviction. More than half of states restrict voting while in prison, or on parole, and probation. And more than 1 in 5 states permanently disenfranchise at least some people with criminal convictions. So now let's hurry up and get a lot of black people. They're not doing anything on their own. Let's just hurry up and get them convicted. Let's hurry up and get them locked up somehow. Let's hurry up and get them a record. What? He didn't put his hands up. What? He did whatever he did. He spat on the sidewalk. What? He jaywalked across the street, which everybody else is jaywalking, but he jaywalked across, whatever the case may be. But now we got him. Let's lock him up. Let's give him a record, and let's go from there. We're not talking about what people are doing to themselves. We're talking about now a system that is against us. We got our own faults as humans, but we also have a system that's against us as well. We need to know this stuff. Let's talk about wealth, money, and other things. We just talked about it a little bit before. Let's talk about it now as we get to the end of this. Wealth. Black families have 1/10 of the median net worth that white families have. And before I go to the next page, I wanted to say one of the reasons I think of why we do. Why? Okay. Remember I just said we need to have a will? Remember I just said we need to protect what it is we have? So as I look back, and I share this with my family, I see property that my grandfather owned, maybe 20 acres here and so many acres there, whatever the case may be. All right? And then you see families squabbling over the dividend, how it's divided up, or over the wills. Let's say Grandpa made this decision and he passed away. Because back in the day, the male had the voice in the black family. Grandpa would, Mama was there. She kept things together. But whatever Papa said, that's what went. So Grandpa sets up his system, and that's what he wants, okay? He has 2 sets of kids, or maybe he have 1 set of kids. He chooses and he goes on. But then he dies first. Most time the man dies first, okay? So now that will can be contested. So it's contested, things are changed, and things are messed up there, okay? And then they say, okay, well, let's give the property to John and Jerry, okay? And then none to Judy. She doesn't need, let's give it to John and Jerry. They're going to handle it. Well, John and Jerry don't want to live there. They don't want anything to do with the property. That's not even in their thought. So John and Jerry decide, well, okay, got it, but not going to care for it, not going to just do anything with it. Just let the taxes go away on it. Just let it kind of go. We don't want to live there. We're living in the city. We got our life, blase, blase. You get the picture. So now the taxes get up, and then someone comes along. Could be someone that your grandfather didn't like at all. It could have been somebody he didn't like, but they always wanted his property. So now his children doesn't want the property because they're not maintaining it. So now it's his turn, and he comes in and swoops up the property. Now the family could have been very wealthy because now they had 20 acres of property. They really didn't want to live there, but they could have kept the taxes up, maintained it somehow, because they didn't know what the value of property was going to be maybe 10, 20 years down the road. They just looked at it where it was right then, thought, nah, nobody wants this, and I'm going on, okay? Probably full of trees. I don't know what's going on with this thing. All right? So now this person comes in, swoops up the property, and they in turn start doing all kinds of stuff, whether they do condominiums, or whether they start farming and set up a farmer's market, or whether they start just doing whatever they're doing now on your property. On your property that was left to you, and now it is gone. So what happened to the family's wealth? So now we use in white families, you can find property that has been handed down through generation after generation. Okay? So now let's see what they say. The media network, okay, so black Americans have 1/10 of the network of white Americans. We already read that. Nearly 1 in 5 black households has 0. Oh, now we didn't read this. Nearly 1 in 5 black households has 0 or negative net worth, compared to nearly 1 in 10 white households. Guys, we don't need 0. We do not need 0 net worth. Okay? All right. The striking gap between black and white families' wealth results from disparities across the U.S. economy. Okay? Black people are about twice as likely to be unemployed. Okay? The black median household income is 57%. That of white families, according to the 2017 Federal Reserve study. The wealth gap is growing. That's not good. And persists even for people with the same education level. How can that be? The median net worth of families headed by a white person with a bachelor's degree was $397,000 as of 2016. I don't know if anybody's hearing this. This is just me. Queen C, that's just you making noise. Guys, did y'all see the difference? Can anybody got a calculator? My God. For the households headed by a college-educated black person, it was $68,000. Anybody got a calculator? $397,000 and you subtract 68,000, how much of a difference is that? Come on, guys. But we're talking about some with the same college education. Something's wrong here. Talking about systemic racism. I'm sorry. I hear people stand up. I hear Representative Tim Scott and all kinds of people stand up and say everything is equal. All you need to do is work hard. You just need to do this. You just need to do that. Please forgive me, but I'm going to say lies, lies, lies. Okay? All right. Home ownership. We're almost done, guys. Thank y'all for sticking with me. Thank you for the likes, by the way. And because I'm reading this, guys, I can't acknowledge everybody, but thank you so much. A black family is about half as likely to own their home as a white family. Here we go again. Home ownership and wealth go hand in hand. The large gap in black and white home ownership has persisted for decades, but since the Great Recession in 2008, the gap has grown. Okay, let's see, can we get this? The American dream of home ownership, okay, isn't a reality for many black families who are only marginally more likely to own a home now than in 1968, when the Fair Housing Act was passed. Generations of housing and mortgage discrimination have contributed to the divide and have black families lower incomes and larger debt loads. So now we got gerrymandering, we got redlining, we got just all kinds of things going against us with this. And then we're not making enough money, a lower income anyway, I'll say it that way. And then now we got big debts. And let me stop right here with big debts. Guys, I just saw something on TV today. It's called, you might have heard of it, buy now, pay later, buy now, pay later. Don't fall into that. The Lord touched my heart, the Holy Spirit touched my heart, said to me to make sure you share with your audiences, whoever's listening, don't you dare fall into that buy now, pay later. Don't do it. Don't you do it. Because you're going to get yourself bogged down in debt, and they're always talking about the high interest rate. Your goal is to get out of debt. You want to be out of debt. You want to be debt free. You want to own something. My mother said if you own your bed, nobody can take it away from you. You need to own something. Buy now, pay later is not good for black people. Everybody else can take it, but I'm speaking to my people. Okay. Before 2008, housing crisis, black consumers were disproportionately targeted for predatory loans. Here we go. There's a predator, making them more vulnerable for foreclosures, according to the Center for Responsible Lending and Advocacy organization. As black people buying homes today often pay higher mortgages, they're going to charge you more, higher mortgage fees, and face more setbacks from tighter underwriting standards, according to the center. Those who can buy homes often get fewer financial benefits because properties in predominantly black neighborhoods appreciate more slowly than those in white areas, contributing to broader gaps in family wealth. What is he saying? What is he saying here, guys? They're saying that we don't take care of our homes. So they're saying that whatever your house is in your neighborhood, if it's in a black neighborhood, it's going to have a low appraisal. Okay? It's saying that. So we got a low appraisal. We're not taking care of our homes. All right? He's saying that when we go to get a home, they're going to charge us higher fees. Any real estate people on here, you can help us out with that. They're going to charge us higher mortgage fees. You're going to pay more. And also, let me tell you this, when you're trying to sell your home as a black person, there's a thing called whitewashing your home. Okay? Whitewashing your home. You have to remove, and this is, you can research this out, this is not just me. I know people had to do this. They also had a lawsuit, where someone did this. They went in and had their home appraised, and they got a very low appraisal. It was nowhere near what their home was worth. And then they went in with a friend, and they whitewashed their home, took out everything that appear to be related to melanated people in any way. And changed the pictures, did some stuff. Came back, got a much higher appraisal on the same house. So therefore, it ended up going into a lawsuit because that was illegal in doing that. I'm not in real estate. You know somebody in real estate, talk to them about it. I have a niece in real estate in New Jersey. I'm sure she is aware of these things as well. I haven't spoken to her about it. All right. Retirement. We're getting to the end. Retirement. That's where I'm headed. That's where I am. That's where I am, folks. That's where I am. Working on it. Can stop any day once I get the numbers right. Black households nearing retirement have a median savings of $30,000, which amounts to 1/4 of the amount held by white households. I got to say that again. When black households retire, they have a median savings of $30,000. That's not a lot. We got to have some passive income coming in somewhere else. We got to have more than just $30,000 and depending upon Social Security, guys. Talking to my people, we got to do this. Come on, folk. Let's wake up. All right, it says, black households near retiring age 55 to 64 had just 1/4 of the savings held by white families for retirement in 2010. Listen, retirement ages 55 to 64, just 1/4, $30,000 in the bank only, and then you're dependent on Social Security. You gotta have some passive income coming in, guys. You gotta find out how to make something else to help you out with this. After a lifetime of lower pay, wow, many black Americans are forced to live on less in retirement. With less savings, they are more likely to rely on Social Security benefits as their main source of retirement income, and those checks are often smaller than those of white peers after a lifetime of making smaller contributions. Okay? This is why you need to wait if you can and retire at 70 or somewhere. You see what I'm saying? Because the longer you wait, the more money you get. All right? Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Don't know if you can do it or not. Almost half of the black people receiving Social Security benefits receive at least 90% of their income from the program. So that means that you don't have anything else coming in. And that meant you only had $30,000 saved up, probably in your 401k or whatever you got going on. So you had $30,000 saved up. You're only getting your Social Security. If you didn't stay till you're 70 years old, so you're not getting the maximum amount. So you're kind of struggling. You know, there's not an awful lot to do there. And then it says here, let's go on. Almost half of the black, Social Security benefits. Okay, there we go. According to the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare. So this is statistics. And numbers don't lie, guys. We might not want it to be true, but these are numbers. Only 1/4 received retirement income from other assets. Only 1/4 of the black population, compared with more than 55% of white retirees. So we need a pension coming from somewhere. We need some. This is one of the reasons when now people are jumping about jobs real good. If you have a young adult around you in your household that are working or something, you need to say to them before they jump to another job, even though they might not like the one that they have, they need to stay there for at least 5 years to get vetted. You need to get vetted. If you get on the job and you stay for 6 months or a year, and you jump and leave and go to another job, 6 months or a year, you're not going to get vetted. But if you stay there at least 5 years, I believe it's at least 5 years, you can get vetted in your 401k, you will start getting support from your job as well as what you're putting in. They can match what you're doing. That's one way to help you there. If you have a job that offers those benefits, you need to look at, I wish I had all this wisdom when I was younger. Bless God in the name of Jesus. That comes with time, y'all. Comes with time. You need to, when you're looking at your job, you need to look at, yes, the hourly wage on how much you're getting, but you need to look at the benefits. You need to see what benefits are offered, because sometimes the hourly wage might not be the biggest, but sometimes they offer huge benefits. Benefits for retirement, benefits for other kind of money saving things, benefits for, I got a HS, I don't even know what it is, HBSA or something card to pay for your medicines, benefits for all kinds of things that could be there. So you want to have them look at that as well. Okay? So yes, the upfront money really counts, but benefits are huge. And you also want to make sure if there's any type of investment going on. So if it's a 401k, you can, what are the umbrella investments that are happening out there that you can make sure your money is a part of? Okay? And that would be long-term investments if you're younger. Long-term investments. So it's going to go up and down and ride with the market, but at least when it comes up, there's something in there, and you can seek wisdom on when to keep or when to sell. Okay? Now, I'm not an expert on any of that. Mine is the school of hard knocks. Learn the school of hard knocks. Okay? All right. Life expectancy. The life expectancy gap between black and white people has narrowed over a century but remains at 4 years. Chronic diseases such as heart condition or cancer strike black people at a higher rate than whites. This is true, but I want you to be careful with this, please. I have a personal problem with this. You see, when you keep hearing something over and over, you will really, after a while, internalize that as a truth and start to believe that. So after a while, you start looking at yourself and you start thinking, well, you know what? I got melanated, I'm melanated, so I'm going to die from everything. I'm going to have a bad heart. I'm going to have hypertension. I'm going to have diabetes. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have that. Don't do that. These statistics are there. Yes. Oh, God, how can I say this? Yes, they are numbers. They are legit. This is what's showing. But we can turn this around and better this for ourselves. We don't have to just accept this and then not do anything for our health. We can change our diets. We can exercise. Listen, we come from a nation of people in Africa. Whether you believe it or not, I'm going to say it, that's our origination. Okay? They found out that's where life began, and I know that's my home, so you can do what you want to do. Never been there, but I accept it. Okay, so now, if you look at our history, you'll see that, get on YouTube sometime and just Google Africa and just Google follow one of the younger YouTubers that take you through the various countries, 54 countries in Africa, take you through the countries and take you into some of the tribes and take you into the city life and take you into the street vendors and let you see how they live, because they're eating more fruit and they're eating more vegetables and they're living long lives and they're being healthier. So it's not always true. We can change this, change what we eat, change what we do, change our lifestyle. We can turn this around. Okay? We can turn this around. All right. In the CDC, early records, all right, at the turn of the last century, white people lived more than 30% longer than black people on an average. The gap has decreased, but stayed largely stable through the 1960s and the 1990s. Increases in black life expectancy since then have been attributed to reductions in HIV, AIDS, deaths, and homicide. The disadvantages black people encounter throughout life in areas such as education, healthcare,